You know, I've basically accepted that nothing I say at the end of my videos is true, because this is not what I said would be next to my last commentary. Honestly, that other video might never get made. But anyway, MegatronDBZTV. This guy has somehow gotten on everyone's radar, including mine. But I'm not covering him because he's been saying some really stupid things about other commentators, and making an apology that is completely damage control and isn't sincere at all. No, I'm covering him because he hates a show I like. Yeah, that's it. Roll the intro.
Let's just get this over with. Dragon Ball Super, a show that we all had high expectations for, but in the end, it barely met any of those expectations.
That is one frame from one early episode of the series, which had newbies in the animation world working on it. Not to mention the animation world industry is rough on animators.
What we got instead was the worst entry into the Dragon Ball franchise since Dragon Ball GT.
Right, because it showed that in this video, you only list like 5 examples of why you think it's bad. It's worse than a show that nearly anyone who has watched it could write a whole novel about why it's bad. I mean, here's a fast cat scroll of problems with GT in no particular order.
One of the main problems with this series is that it threw power scaling out the fucking window.
Oh yeah, because Dragon Ball Z never did that. You know, it's almost like these characters have become so powerful that it's really hard to tell who is stronger than who.
Seriously, how is he alive after this?
You know, while it is granted that Krillin is way weaker than Goku, we've seen before that he is pretty freaking resilient for a human, and could probably take at least one punch from Goku.
If you thought that was bad, Goku vs. Kefla was even worse. Seriously, how is this even possible? He was just going toe-to-toe with Jiren, now he's getting his ass handed to him by this bitch.
Kefla is the combination of Kale and Caulifla, one of which can go Super Saiyan Berserk, and the other can reach Super Saiyan 2, as well as match Goku in a fight. So unless you misspoke that name, Kefla could sure as hell go toe-to-toe with Goku.
Overall, the two female Saiyans that were introduced are just outright shitty characters. Caulifla just seems like an arrogant bitch, and Kale is just the female Broly. They are not interesting characters, not at all. And I think part of the reason that they aren't interesting is that they pretty much have no real character development. The only thing I know in terms of character is that Caulifla is annoying, and if she opens her mouth again, then Megatron is gonna have to choke a bitch.
This makes me feel like you weren't paying attention when Caulifla and the Universe 6 Saiyans were on screen. Because according to the DBZ Wiki, because I don't have time to watch 40 Japanese episodes, or wait till they are dubbed into English, Caulifla has a passion for fighting after she obtains Super Saiyan, and cares for her friends, Kale and Kaba. She clearly has more personality than you mentioned. Oh, and keep in mind his use of the word bitch. It's gonna get really important up in here a bit later.
As for Kale, well, there's not much to say about her. Like I said before, she's just Broly if he was a woman.
Well, actually, her personality is that she is timid and unsure of herself, and she looks up to Caulifla as a strong-willed fighter, and she cares for Caulifla, which is one way she gets powered up. The only thing she shares with Broly is her Berserker form, and the timid part, if you want to get technical with this.
She even acts like him.
Son Goku! Son Goku! In her Berserker form. Okay, the Berserker form basically turns you into the Hulk, and while some media has made the Hulk sentient, most Hulks share the same anger rage personality that can only really say a few words. And, you know, act like an animal bent on killing anything in its path.
Does that seem familiar? Guess who else did this kind of shit?
Kakarot! Broly, no, don't waste your time on them. Kakarot!
See what I mean about her being a female Broly?
So, actually, in that situation, Broly chanting Goku's name comes from his childhood, trauma of Goku non-stop crying while they were babies. Kale chants Goku's name only because of the Berserker form, and him being her.
This wouldn't be a problem if Kale actually had some original aspects to her. But she has none. Instead, we got one of the most forced instances of female representation that I have ever seen. Yeah, this goes for Caulifla as well.
Yes, because the only reason these characters exist is because of gender swapping. They have no other character traits aside from being women, right? Honestly, all of your points against them are wrong, but at least they were character-based. But then you bring in the woman card, and suddenly you calling them bitches makes more sense.
Also, these two being able to achieve Super Saiyan so easily just takes the idea that the form is obtained through hard work and immense suffering and throws it right out the fucking window.
You know, I was wondering why this video was so short. Then I realized it's because you don't go into any detail about why you hate this show. Honestly, how am I supposed to agree with your argument when you have barely made one? Could you give me, any evidence, verbal or visual, of these two being able to achieve Super Saiyan so easily? From what I've read, it took Caulifla taunting by Kappa to turn Super Saiyan, and it took Kale seeing her mentor get hurt for her to turn Super Saiyan. Maybe not the immense training seen in shows past, but they didn't just achieve it on the fly, you know.
In addition, the retcon of the Potara earrings was a horrible idea. But making the fusion only last an hour, it totally discards the original impact of a Potara fusion. Originally, the fusion, well, to me anyway, represented sacrificing your own individuality for a greater good.
Wouldn't that be the same for the fusion dance as well? Why are the Potara so special? Oh, it's because you think they were originally permanent. Newsflash, the characters only thought they were permanent originally. Also, the only last for an hour thing makes the Potara way more worth it, considering something you don't bring up.
Me swoop will never be pants again!
Also, the ending to the Future Trunks saga. What the fuck were they thinking? This is one of the biggest middle fingers to the fans that I have ever seen. Erasing the timeline was a horrible decision since now it makes the entire Goku Black arc absolutely pointless, since all the events that took place have been erased.
Alright, fine. Yes. Erasing the timeline is a complete cop-out on the show's part, and does waste the time spent watching it, though I might have an argument against it. It's not very good, but just hear me out, okay? What if that whole arc was for the purpose of showing us how Grand Zeno deals with problems and foreshadowing what was to come with the rules of the Universal Tournament? That doesn't excuse the fact that it's still a huge middle finger to the fans, it's just a thought.
As a whole, Dragon Ball Super is filled with flaws, whether it was the early animation, inconsistencies in power scaling, or just misusing established characters.
Okay, ignoring your stupid recap, what does this image have to do with messing with established characters? It's just Piccolo giving a pep talk to somebody. Most likely Gohan. Alright, final thoughts. This video just screams, I pushed this out without thinking about what I am saying. Especially with all the arguments having no evidence beyond a few images. Even more so when he forgets or doesn't mention things that completely shoot his arguments in the foot. Some advice, just gonna say this. Think about something before you say it. Also, get a better editor. I honestly don't understand why these phone editor guys can't use their computer, which has free editing tools on it. And with that last minute editing point, I leave you with no hint for my next video because I have nothing planned. Maybe a top 10 list or review or something, I don't know.